tits, convicted felon, big cankles, is completely underwater on the Epstein scandal. As you can imagine, the majority of Americans think that he is full of shit. Put up this from Rolling Stone. Poll shows widespread disapproval and suspicion of Trump's handling of Epstein files. 63% agreed that the Trump administration is, quote, hiding important information about the Jeffrey Epstein case. Of those who said the administration is hiding information, a staggering 81% blamed Trump for it. These numbers are bipartisan, you guys. We need to keep this at the top of the news cycle.
Well, here's the deal. Laura Loomer is one of the few people that blames Pam Bondi because Pam Bondi does all of Trump's bidding. But what's interesting about all of this Epstein stuff, if he wasn't in the middle of the files, he would have released him already because he can't control the news cycle about him. That's all you need to know. I mean, other than all of his other bullshit and his treatment of women from jump, he would have released it to get out of it, but he can't because he's ass deep.
And he has, this didn't just happen in a vacuum. If you truly don't stay in the right-wing media, Trump being at the epicenter of the Epstein files was not a surprise to us. It probably wasn't a surprise to our viewers, Pumps, because we actually listen to objective news and are truth seekers. So if you know this, you know that Donald Trump has, on an escalator once, spoke about how he wanted to be dating a 10-year-old 10 years from them. He actually passed a 10-year-old and saw her as a potential suitor for him in a decade later. It's a weird thing. He's bragged openly about walking into fitting rooms where teenage girls were changing clothes and that he could go in and see them naked because he owned the pageant. This was a flex for him. Everybody cannot forget that, he can grab him by the pussy because he's a star, and everybody wants a star like McCankle's taco tits to grab him by the pussy, which is sexual assault because nobody wants Donald Trump to grab them by the pussy. Oh, I want to remind you, this is a big one too. On Howard Stern, he said his cutoff dating age was 12.
Right.
That is on tape, you guys. But here's some new footage corroborating his long-standing history of sexualizing teenagers, including his own daughter. Here he is talking about children that he wants to hire to work on his private plane.
It was something like we were trying to do. This is like a real chemistry. And my people thinks it's something that she has no experience. Show it to be on because you're separated. And I said, let me ask you, do you have any experience? She goes, no, sir. I said, when can you start? Yeah. She worked in my plan. It's like a death machine. It's like an operating many friends are running people around the you put scotch in there. So this would be my grand.
Young girls is his form of alcoholism. I would think, I'm no psychiatrist or psychologist, but I would think that psychologists would explain sexual predators very much in the same way that they describe addiction and impulse control. And he is openly there talking about underage children. And he's talking about that's his alcoholism. If you put these underage girls in front of him, that's where he has no control. And MAGA is the party of sexual depravity and sexual predators. And I'm so fucking sick of all the MAGA Christians saying, we're the party of family values. No, you're not. You're the party of pedophiles.
Absolutely. And Donald Trump, remember, he was convicted of 34 felony counts because he was so worried that his base would find out about he and Stormy Daniels and the earthquake in the party at the time about the grab him by the pussy tape. He started lying about it. Now these people are doing mental gymnastics to support Donald Trump with his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, they have gone so far that they're talking about Ghislaine Maxwell being a victim, that they are completely ignoring his behavior. I mean, look at the fall of these people in just 10 years.
Well, and this is why I think it's important that we message that MAGA and MAGA voters are the party of sexual depravity, because the evidence from Donald Trump's own mouth, with no spin from any journalist or deep state or Democrat, if you just listen to what he says about underage girls, about children, about his own daughter, if you just listen to him, it's very evident that he is a sexual predator, that he is okay with it. He's completely okay with Jeffrey Epstein through his own voice, what he says about it. And the people that vote for him by proxy are okay with all of this. Which brings me to, you spoke about Pam Bondi, which brings me to another issue we need to keep browbeating the shit out of, you guys. And it is how these people live in a world where they can say one thing one month and then do an 180-degree turn and say the exact opposite. These people are betas. They have no moral compass. They have no moral conviction. Here's Pam Bondi in 2024.
I want to know why AG Garland and the Justice Department are so quiet on this tonight. They're out there labeling parents domestic terrorists, yet they're saying nothing about this. And these documents were so slow to come out. Human trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar business in this country, and Jeffrey Epstein is dead, and Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for 20 years where she belongs. And if people in that report are still fighting to keep their names private, Sean, they have no legal basis to do so unless they're a child, a victim, or a cooperating defendant by some chance against some potential case against Ghislaine Maxwell. And I think Mark Garagos, as a great criminal defense attorney, will back that up as well.
Pumps.
Interesting that that's what she said. There's no reason the files shouldn't be released unless you're a victim or cooperating witness. She said that. That was her mouth.
And that Ghislaine Maxwell belonged in jail. She has moral clarity about the issue here. Moral clarity about the sex crimes against children and how horrific they are. And she wants to protect the victims, and she wants to expose and shine a light on the injustices and the predation of these offenders. But Pam Bondi is not alone on this moral gymnastics. This is at the epicenter of the MAGA movement. And we all know that all MAGA people like to grind and snort and inject Fox News all the time, which is just so mind-numbing. And I'm sorry that you guys, that I'm going to show you this, but it's important to watch just what breathtaking hypocrites these people are. Play the clip.
Where was the FBI when Epstein was molesting kids? So a bank is caught financing someone's underage sex trafficking ring, and no one goes to jail. But they want to put Trump in prison for the rest of his life over a dispute over a piece of paper. That is interesting.
It is interesting.
That contrast. Who protects a dead pedophile when children are raped? Saddens me that no one's thinking about these victims, and everyone's covering up for the royal family, the politicians, the Bureau, Langley, and the media has just been disgraceful in their coverage. The media doesn't seem interested in the Epstein files. I wonder why. Democrats just uncovered a new cover-up, and it's the thing they've been covering up for years. Their new favorite word, not eggs, Epstein. Epstein used to be a forbidden word for Democrats. Now they can't get it out of their mouth. I have an 80-year-old black guy playing the guitar about Jeffrey Epstein. It's corny.
I want to give credit to a lady that I follow on Twitter, and her account is called Decoding Fox News. And this woman watches all of this stuff, and she able to put this clip together. So shout out to you. Thank you. I want to make sure we give you credit, because there she is cut together the hypocrisy in real time in just a 45-second clip. You can see how morally depraved these people are, and that they oppose crimes against children only when the offender opposes their political belief system. When the pedophile aligns with their political belief system, they support pedophilia. at Fox News, because they are not covering this, the Justice Department, the MAGA administration, because they cannot speak out on this and release it. I read that over 100,000 pages had redacted Trump's name in it. Have you read that?
I've read that too. Yes. And I'd love to see if we ever get that, hopefully we'll see it. But what's so disgraceful about this is Jesse Waters in that rant goes on and on about how nobody cares about Epstein. But you know what? He knows they do, because Fox News, when everybody's talking about Epstein everywhere, they say Joe Biden like 80 times.
We're talking about Sydney Sweeney.
Sweeney's
American Eagle jeans, which nobody fucking cares about.
Nobody cares. But these people know, and they are lying to their viewers, because Trump and Fox News thinks that triple Trumpers are stupid, which there's a lot of evidence to support that. But I mean, they treat them like they're dumb.
Okay, one more clip here from Decoding Fox News. She's put this together. Put this up.
Remember Epstein, those cameras weren't working. These cameras, I'm tired of hearing about it. Fire these people.
All right. We're going to get to, and by the way, the ambulance guy said, I said, you must see some crazy stuff. He goes, yeah, I picked up Epstein at the prison.
Whoa.
And I said, what was it like? Was it sketchy when you picked him up? He said it was real sketchy. They had moved the body from the prison cell and had taken the stuff off of his neck.
So Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. Shut up, he did. And that was the end of the story. So Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. The Russians blew up their own pipeline. Julian Assange is a criminal. I mean, maybe we're in the habit of just accepting the most ludicrous possible claims.
The reason Mark spoke to the New York Post is because he believes his brother was murdered after his arrest in 2019, and he did not commit suicide.
No wonder he never made it out of that cell. Imagine the people he could have exposed.
It's like, why are people signing up for that class? She's a two-time presidential loser, and Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
Remember Epstein hung himself? And like every tape was blank.
Yes.
Like every tape happened to be not working. The same thing. Epstein's surveillance cameras break.
But we've seen a lot of problems in these county jails or facilities like Rikers, where everyone was asleep when Jeffrey Epstein apparently, I was thinking of you, Jesse.
How dare.
Apparently, supposedly killed himself. Or maybe Jeffrey Epstein, didn't hang himself, and she doesn't want to end up in the same situation.
Just hanging on a bed that is very low to the ground. It seems there are a lot of questions there. Why was the camera not working? Where were the prison guards?
And then we have interviews with former mobsters who actually was in the same jail as Epstein and had kind of a shocking claim. Watch.
Jeffrey Epstein would have to be a magician to try to hang himself in that cell. I was in that cell. There's no way there's nothing on the ceiling. The bedpost is this high. I couldn't even go to a restroom without them walking back and forth and having me on camera. There's no way he committed suicide.
Okay, here's the deal. I agree with them. What is up with that? And here's the difference between our side and theirs. If Merrick Garland, I'm already furious at, because he sat on the investigation into Trump in January 6th. He sat on corruption with Supreme Court justices when investigations should have immediately been launched into Clarence Thomas, because what he is doing by taking those funds is, I think, criminal. But we needed an attorney general that would do these things. But he was lackluster and, dithering about. And so I think that Merrick Garland dropped the ball on this. But I want to remind everybody, during all of this, all of Fox's questioning, it was Trump and Bill Barr that arrested him, and that's whose administration he died under. Okay. And so then Democrats do nothing about it. And now it's back after 4 years of all of these conspiracy theories and all of these questions on Fox News. It's back in the hands of the people that wanted to get to the bottom of it. And what they did is they packed their toys up and left Congress. And Mike Johnson's over talking about his foreign policy in Israel right now. And Donald Trump is talking about Sydney Sweeney and Fox News. All of this Done. Crickets gone. They won't talk about it because they think everybody's wound up about American Eagle jeans, which nobody gives a shit. All right, that's all we have for today. Please subscribe. We'll see you all later.